Yes, sir. What is going on YouTube? It is your boy D Nally, aka Don Squally, and we are back at it with a very filthy G35 as always. Shout out to the squad, SoCal G. I don't have a Strictly VQ sticker on here. I'm gonna have to get one hooked up very soon. But shout outs to Strictly VQ as well, man. But we are here today. Got that Tajima intake. Sold the InGen to a guy who watches, so big shout outs to him if he's watching. Hope you're enjoying it. But today's video is not about the intake or this filthy ass paint job, man. Today we are going to be talking about oil catch cans and how I put pretty much the cheapest catch can that I could possibly build on this car. Now, as some of you guys may know, the daily, we're going to call it daily, we're going to get back to daily in this, come summertime, does have a legitimate catch can. As some of you guys may or may not remember, this cover's not bolted down, I did put on this catch can here. These clamps getting a little rusty, but if you guys haven't seen the video, I guess I'll link it in the description if I remember. But that's a legit catch can right there. Cost me about 60 bucks. Came with a couple of the hoses and stuff like that, and then I just clamped it down so that it's nice and sturdy there. This thing definitely has been doing its job. You know, for the money, definitely worth it. Looks nice. This whole engine bay needs to get spruced up a bit. Ah, there it is. Shout out Strictly VQ. But yeah, I basically wanted to put a oil catch can on the beater without spending the 50-60 bucks that I actually did for that kit. So basically how I made this is it pretty much cost me around $10 in materials. Now, I went out and I bought about 3 feet of this rubber hose. I think it's 3/8 fuel line. So that's going to be good for the heat as well as the oil and stuff that's going to be going through these lines. And then I ended up picking up a couple of these just aluminum water bottles. Now this one says Canada. You know, any aluminum water bottle would work. These ones cost me about 3 bucks a piece. Now my original plan was to put 2 catch cans, one obviously right here, and then there's another hose that goes from the top of the valve covers just back there and then back into this intake. Now I did notice there are a couple setups that do have 2 cans in them. Now I first installed this can on this side right here, and then as I pulled this back hose off going back into the intake, I realized that there's barely any oil. There's actually no oil going into that back hose there. So really the only problem hose is this one right here. Now this car burns a ton of oil. Just driving it down the street is probably enough to asphyxiate you when you're driving. So it's definitely something that I wanted to take care of. Now, like I say, pretty much the cheapest catch can that I could possibly go with. So what I did was I just took this can, obviously, as you can see, and I drilled a couple of holes. Now the intake line, which is going to be coming from the PCV, I gotta remember that I say that properly. The PCV valve right there is going to come into this side of the can. Now you'll notice I drilled that hole just a little bit lower than the, I guess, outlet line that goes into the bottom of the plenum here. Now reason being is when the oil's coming in here, it's going to drip down, as opposed to if the hose was up here more, it, you know, runs the risk of getting sucked back into the plenum, which is what we're kind of trying to avoid here. Now obviously I used a bit to drill the initial hole, and then just this step up bit, I put a little piece of tape on there where I needed to be, and what that allowed me to do is just slide these lines in there. What that allows me to do is push the hose in just enough so that it's creating a nice airtight seal around here, but also not cutting into the rubber, because this is thin aluminum, and once you drill a hole in it, it tends to get pretty sharp. And then basically I just cut off the top of this lid just because I thought it was going to be hitting on the hood. I might actually put this lid back on just because it doesn't look quite as cheap as the broken lid. And then basically what I did was I pulled the little clamp off of the PCV valve right there, added on that little hose right there, and this hose regularly would connect from here, the, I guess, outlet of the PCV, and then go into the plenum right here. So basically what I have going on here is this hose going into the plenum. Now I didn't use any clamps just yet. I was going to reuse the stock clamps for here, but I haven't had any problems yet, and this thing has, well, it's been catching a little bit of oil. Let me just open it up and show you guys here real quick. Now I've read online a lot of guys say that you should use like a baffled catch can, and there should be like, I guess, steel wool in here to collect the oil, but I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah, there's the hose going in. There's definitely oil being caught in there. Now I was thinking of putting some steel wool in there, but I was thinking if the oil gets like stuck on the steel wool, it's possible of getting sucked back into this vacuum hose right here into the plenum. Now I did try a couple of different bottles, like a Gatorade bottle. I also tried a oil container, just like an old oil container, and both of those, there's just too much vacuum that it just basically sucked the bottle completely tight, and you could clearly see all the oil that was going in was just getting sucked back into this line. So with this aluminum bottle, obviously you're not going to have the problem of the bottle getting sucked by the vacuum. And because these things are basically meant as a thermos for putting like hot and cold drinks in it, you know, it will be able to withstand that heat. There's a nylon washer in there, which gives a pretty good seal. Now this thing, when I turn the car on, does have a little bit of a kind of whistle or squeal. My other catch can actually does the exact same thing. I just think it's the air rushing through the can, but I guess I'll do a little startup, give you a clip of that. Old beater. Now I'm not too sure if you can hear that. Very, very faint. Actually, you can barely hear it right now. There's a slight whistling coming from the catch can, but as far as vacuum leaks go, everything is nice and tight. Yeah, you hear that? The slight whee, you probably can't hear it because of the wind from the fan. That's basically the wind getting sucked through this vacuum line, but it's not even that bad, to be honest. Now, in the future, let me just turn this thing off. She's a little loud. She could probably use a bit of oil from the last little snow romp that we did. So like I say, for a more long-term thing, I'd probably put these stock clamps back on these two hoses here. I mean, these lines going into this water jug are definitely, you know, they're definitely airtight. Now, how long they're going to last before the actual aluminum cuts into this rubber hose is a different question. Luckily, I did get lots more hose and another thermos, I guess you could call it, just in case I need to make another one. And for those of you guys who know, this is my beater car, and it's pretty much just cobbled and hacked together with different parts that I had lying around. So I'm not even that mad that it's kind of a cheap catch can. As you guys know, my pride and joy has been sitting in here all winter. I can't wait to get it back out on the road, give it a nice clean. That duckbill trunk's still collecting a bunch of dust, but yeah, man, I figured I'd just make a short video about the, pretty much, I think, the cheapest catch can you'll probably be able to make. I'm going to call it a $10 catch can. What I'm going to do soon is paint this whole plenum, probably get all this painted black, clean up this engine bay real nice. I want to repaint this to match the wheels, obviously. I'm going to repaint the gold part white, and then instead of having the 3.5 there, I'll probably get like a Nismo badge or something, and then do the V6 red with the black logo. But that will probably be in another video. I feel like I've probably been rambling on for quite some time now. So if you guys did find this video helpful, don't forget to smash that like button. If you guys are not subscribed yet, definitely do so. And I'm thinking that's probably going to be the end of this one. So as always, I am your boy D Nally, aka Don Squally. I guess I'll do an update video, man. Let you guys know how this is working in the next couple weeks, if it fixes my fumigation issues that I've been having with this thing. So that's it, man. Peace.